Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be revealing our very first Amazon FBA product. So this is a product that we launched in the July of 2022 when we were like pretty wet behind the ears and pretty inexperienced. So in total, this product actually did about £100,000 in revenue. So we launched it in the UK. It wasn't in the US market, this product. But the reason I wanted to reveal it is because, well, we don't sell it anymore. It's not a brand that we're working on at the minute. And I think there's going to be some good lessons from kind of like looking at what we did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the results. I'm going to show you what the product is. I'm going to talk about, like why we picked it, what the reasons for doing that were. I'm going to talk about, what we did to customize it, how we actually launched it. I'm going to talk about how the launch went. Then I'll go into, what went well and what didn't really go very well. I'll go into the things that maybe if we were going to do it again, we might do differently. I'm basically just going to talk about everything, the story of launching that product and what ended up happening with it, so that you can kind of learn from our mistakes and you can see an actual real example. Because you'll notice really on YouTube, not many gurus actually show their products. Usually that's because either they don't actually sell on Amazon anymore, or they don't really want thousands upon thousands of people kind of looking at the niche that they're in or the products that they sell, which with us and our other brand, that's what the case is. We don't really want, tens of thousands of people with their eyes on our actual products, because, hundreds of people could come in and just kind of copy what we're doing. We are considering this year revealing kind of everything, and we're also launching a second brand this year that we will be documenting on the YouTube channel. So we're trying to bring you more, real life examples, so that what we do just isn't in theory, so that, you can actually see hands-on what it's like to launch a product and what the results are like and all that type of stuff. All right, so drum roll, please. Let's reveal what the product is, or was. It was a man's wallet. So this was a product, and I'm going to blur out the logo for reasons that I'm not going to go super in depth with, but I'm going to blur out the logo and I'll show you everything else. But this was basically, it was a man's wallet. So this is a product, that we launched in July of 2020. As I said, we did about £100,000 in revenue. So we had two variations of this product. So this was one of them. It's kind of like a slim men's wallet is one of the keywords that we were trying to sort of like rank for at that time. So this was it. We did pretty well with it. In the end, we ended up discontinuing it for reasons that I will go into. But that's it. It was made from genuine leather. So I guess let's talk about the reasons why we picked this product. So basically there was a few reasons why we picked it and why we thought it would be a good product to launch. And the main one really was when we looked at the wallet market in the UK, we noticed that most of the sellers, almost all of the sellers, were just cheap Chinese brands. So they were, they had weird names, their listings used a lot of Photoshop, they weren't very high quality. And we kind of thought, like, when people are looking for a wallet, perhaps if they don't want a name brand wallet, if they don't want something from like Timberland, those wallets were like £40-50 sometimes, and we were landing these for about £4. So we were probably going to sell them for between £20 and £25. But what we basically wanted to do is we wanted to be the premium option in that niche, because we kind of looked at the competition. It wasn't mega high competition. It wasn't, full of super high quality listings and stuff like that. So we thought we could be the premium option in there if we put a lot of time and a lot of effort into building the listings and making them look really beautiful, doing amazing graphic design, taking amazing product photography, making some really cool product videos, all of that stuff. The other reason that we really liked it was because this is actually a custom design. So this is something that we actually hired somebody on Fiverr. We basically took a bunch of different wallet designs. We mainly looked at the US market, which is absolutely massive. And we kind of took inspiration from what was doing really well there, and we made our own version of it. So basically, my point is like we could customize this relatively easy. It was probably costing us about $60 each time we had a sample made for this. So it's not expensive to get samples made. If you come up with your own custom design, it's very easy to do something that nobody else on the market has. Now, obviously somebody can just come along and copy it, but we were kind of confident that we would do the branding so well that we didn't, really need to worry about that. So that was the main thing, is that, we saw an opportunity to be a premium brand. We knew that we could customize the product because it's made from leather, so it's pretty easy to customize. We went out of our way to like try and source the highest quality leather that we could. So this is really nice. It smells really nice. We ordered the competitions and theirs didn't really smell very nice. It was a lot of them, they used kind of fake PU leather. But those are two of the main reasons. Another reason was that it's really small and it's really light. A lot of gurus will tell you this, that you should look for small and light. We don't recommend that all the time. The reality is that if you do have a small and light product, it's way cheaper to ship it. So that was another advantage. It was super cheap to ship it at the time. time. Even when the price of shipping increased, you know, it didn't go crazy. I think you could fit 100 of these in one box. So you can imagine the shipping cost wasn't too crazy. So yeah, I think we were landing it for about £4 and we were selling it for up to like £25 at different times. We had a different price during the launch, all that type of stuff. But I think our target price was about £20. The margin was going to be quite good. And we also saw the opportunity was very, very scalable. Because if you think about this as a product, right? If you launch one of these and it goes really well, then you can launch another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different styles and different variations of wallets. You're not limited to just like that one style. So what I noticed at the time was there was a brand called Tehon, T-E-E-H-O-N. Now, these guys are still around. They're a Chinese brand. And if you ask Tom, he'll probably laugh because I was borderline obsessed with these guys at one point back in 2020. Well, basically what I saw that they did was they just launched probably 30 different styles of wallets. So when you searched for men's wallets on Amazon.co.uk or anywhere in Europe, you could not avoid their brand. They were everywhere. So this is a concept that we call taking up real estate. So when we say taking up real estate, what we mean is if there's 30 listings on the front page of Amazon, and if you take up 6 of those listings, then the chances are that a customer is going to see and click on your brand. So when we're looking at products and we're looking to launch something, this is something that we really pay close attention to because it's a big advantage if the product is very scalable. So the plan was we would launch 1 or 2 in this case, this one and another one that had a zip as a slight variation. And what we were going to do is if they went well, then we would just scale it as quickly as we could. So we'd do different colors, different types of leather, make one slightly smaller, make one slightly bigger, add different things. And we would do them either under the same listing if they were different color variations, or we would just create new listings to try and take on these companies like Tehon. So we worked out that the total revenue in that market every month was probably, up to £1.5 million was spent on wallets every month on Amazon, just in the UK. So we figured, well, we only need to take, 5-10% of that to make good cash. So that was one of the main reasons as well that we really liked this niche was it's incredibly scalable. So that's something that you should take into account when you're looking at launching your products. Like, how scalable is it? Can you just launch tons of different variations of sizes and shapes and colors? And can you take up a bunch of that market by using that as a strategy? So to go into a little bit about the actual launch and how well it went, we did 2 variations. One thing that we did was we actually ordered enough stock of one variation, but then we didn't order enough stock of the second variation. I'll go into that a little bit in a minute. But basically the launch went really well. We had a very structured way of doing the PPC, much like the sort of strategy that we use now. We launched it very aggressively. We started out at a low price and off the bat, it went really well. The conversion rate was good. I think we were doing, 20, 25 sales a day sometimes. And we very quickly got to be in the top 10 best-selling wallets in the UK. I think even at times we managed to creep up and be in like the top 4. So we were competing in terms of sales velocity with, some of the best-selling wallets in the UK. This was amazing. This was our first product that we'd launched together. And, it was off the bat, the first 2 weeks, it went really well. But then what happened is Amazon decided that they would suspend one of the variations. Now, we got a complaint on the listing. It was something like the leather isn't what it should be, or there's marks. And because we had like 3 complaints that were kind of related, they just suspended the listing. And it was this weird technicality where they just wouldn't unsuspend us. No matter what we did, Tom was on the phone to them at the time, I remember, every single day, and we just couldn't do it. At the same time as this was happening, the second variation went out of stock. So basically we went from doing pretty good in terms of sales to doing nothing. Now, long story short is the launch went well. We got that one suspended. It took us 2 months before we got that listing back live. By that time, we'd run out of stock with the second variation, and we'd already ordered more stock. So we'd actually placed a second order because we thought things, were going really well. We got the listing suspended, then we ran out of stock in the other one, and it ended up being a bit of a disaster. It was a very, very stressful 2 to 3 months where we thought we'd put all of this money into this product, and then we got suspended and we ran out of stock, and it seemed like it was going to be a bit of a disaster. In the end, it didn't work out too badly. Like, we ended up selling out of all of the stock eventually because we ended up finding a product and launching a product in the US, a completely different brand, and that product ended up turning into the brand that we have today that has done over 7 figures. But to go back and kind of look at the whole thing in hindsight and see, what mistakes did we we make and what would we do differently. I would say what we would do differently is definitely make sure that we order enough stock. We didn't order enough stock on one of the variations. We didn't expect it to be that good in terms of sales, which was a mistake. We just assumed that it wasn't going to be. And in the end, it actually sold really well. So we only had like 2 weeks worth of stock. So by the time, we realized, shit, we need to order more stock, it was already out of stock for weeks and weeks. And that completely killed the organic ranks. We couldn't have done anything differently to avoid being suspended. Nothing I would do differently there. The only other thing that I can think of really that I would do differently is I think we designed this too much based on our own personal preference. It sold well, but I think it could have sold even better. And I actually think we could have made this brand into a 7-figure brand if we would have actually just taken what was obviously the best and the most popular design and then just put our own spin on it. But we made an amazing listing. I was really proud at the time of the listing that we made. It was super high quality. We got some really cool videos done. And overall, it was an amazing experience. We didn't lose any money. I think £5,000-6,000 is what we made. By the time it had been suspended and we'd ordered the new stock, we'd sold through everything. We didn't make much money, but it was definitely worth it. And that was what catapulted us into launching the second product, the second brand, which obviously has led us to where we are today. So yeah, that's it. That's the revealing of our very first product, which was these men's wallets. An interesting product to launch. And I hope this video was interesting for you. Now that you know the products that we launched when we first started Amazon, go and check out this video where I do 40 minutes of live product research, and maybe you can find your own product to start selling yourself. Take it easy.